Disclaimer: Six Inc. does not act as a securities dealer or advisor and is not registered to do so under applicable securities law. The accuracy of any statements made by individuals interviewed is not verified by Six Inc. These individuals or the firms they represent are solely responsible for their statements. Nothing in this interview is a recommendation by Six Inc. for any securities, nor is it investment advice or a substitute for professional investment advice. All investments in securities carry risks. Everyone's investment needs are different. Investors should obtain professional advice from a registered investment dealer, advisor, or other professional third party. For a full disclaimer, please refer to the description below or at www.six.com. Hello everyone and welcome to the Six Report. Today I'm joined with Ali Haji, CEO of Ion Energy, to learn more about the recent acquisition of the Bliss Lake Lithium Pegmatite project in Canada. Ali, thanks for coming on the program. My first question is, why diversify into Canada and why the Bliss Lake project specifically? What got you excited about this project?
Well, I think specifically, let's talk about the diversification. Mongolia is a fantastic jurisdiction to operate in. The mediums that we have are assets in Mongolia today. One is brine, of course, that's the Yellowknife project that's been rapidly advanced. And we have Babayul as well, which of course requires a bit more work before we get a sense of what that is. And that serves the Asian market, which is an important market, the largest market in the world today. So we're not pivoting away from there. We're simply looking at opportunity outside of Mongolia to leverage our skill set. Now, Bliss Lake is in the Northwest Territories. There's been work done there by the Department of Energy of Canada as far back as 1977. There's a gentleman by the name of Mr. Lasmanis that spent a fair bit of time out there exploring for lithium, found grades of up to 1.4% lithium oxide, and a resource of about 49 million tons in that same grade. So it is an area that has had historical work done on it. Bliss Lake, of course, very close to PMET and LIFT and their assets in that region, very close to the infrastructure that Yellowknife provides. And in terms of just the attractiveness of the project, I think we couldn't, it was just far too valuable at its valuation as well as its proximity to those industry peers. And as a result, we hopped on the opportunity.
Okay, so as far back as 1977 for known lithium, but what about recent project development? What's known about the Bliss Lake project so far? When was the last work done on this project?
There have been discoveries of outcrops on surface that are pegmatite in nature, so very similar to what you would see at LIFT. We haven't done any work there yet. Of course, it is a very greenfield project, but when you find those outcrops, much like our peers in the neighborhood that have identified outcrops and ultimately staked land on the back of that, that's exciting enough for us. We're going to head out there before the end of the month in May this year. And of course, we're going to do some rock chip sampling, perhaps some channel sampling, obtain assays on that data, and then plan a drilling program. So we'll be working with the government of the Northwest Territories to help bring along permitting. And once we have our assay results, then we can start to plan towards a drilling program or a geomagnetic survey or any other such non-intrusive type work that needs to occur before we can truly identify the potential for the outcrops.
Perfect. And this was an all-equity deal, which gives the seller the ability to own 5% of Ion Energy. And there's also a 1% NSR royalty on the property. So I have two questions for you. Why did the seller want to sell this property? And are there any other royalties on the project?
The seller wanted to sell the property because they're not mining people. They saw opportunity where LIFT and PMET and everybody else has had significant gains in either their market price or the opportunity to find assets in that region. They have relationships in the Northwest Territories, and so they staked out this land, and they were looking for a partner to help develop it. So I will tell you that we weren't the only party looking at it. There were other parties looking at it. In terms of their option to choose us, we're grateful. We think there's a lot of value here. We're going to continue to work with them and their partners in that territory to help define this project further. And then from a royalty perspective, no, there are no additional royalties. It's only the 1% of which we can buy back 0.5% for $500,000 at any time. And I'd like to touch on the equity structure of the agreement because I think that's important. It's $1 million worth of shares or $1 million worth of equity in Ion Energy, which amounts to just shy of 5% of the company. That said, there is a small tranche that goes out immediately, and that's indicated in the press release. A second tranche in 4 months, and the first tranche, of course, will have a 4-month hold. And then we don't have other tranches going out for the first year anniversary and the second year anniversary. So the individuals that have sold us this asset have a vested interest in ensuring we're able to succeed in that region. it's a fantastic deal for our shareholders.
Did the sellers ask you or tell you, sorry, why they chose Ion Energy?
Well, no, I think it's, that is really ultimately up to them. But we presented what our strengths are, what our goals are, and what we're trying to achieve. And they ultimately chose us as their partner. So we're happy to have them on board, and we look forward to working with them.
Definitely. And your team has two lithium brine projects in Mongolia. So do you have any immediate plans for exploring this new project? And if so, who will be conducting the exploration efforts?
There's a group out in the territories that we're currently contracted with, and we're reviewing their plans to explore the asset. So, as I said, we'll get out there before the end of May. I beg your pardon, to conduct some work, some initial work at the very least, and then plan out a more detailed exploration program on the back of that early work.
Perfect. And can you update the audience on your two lithium projects in Mongolia? And what can we expect from Ion Energy as a company for the remainder of 2023?
Of course. With Urgach Naran, we've had a lot of success there. We've seen volumes up to 9.9 billion cubic meters at half an ohm cutoff. We've completed our lithological holes with grades almost 3 times as high as, Albemarle Silver Peak mine. And we've started on our hydrogeological sampling program. So we will have those assays back in due course. And at that point, we will start to infer a resource on Urgach Naran and then move to measured and indicated before the sort of the fall, I would say. And beyond the fall, we start moving towards scoping and pre-feasibility. So the goal for Urgach Naran is that we get it, or we at least commence pre-feasibility before the end of this year. So we're not stopping our activities in Mongolia. We're not pivoting from Mongolia. We're equally focused on both opportunities, or all three opportunities, I should say. And the market will receive a fair bit of news flow with respect to both silver, our asset in Northwest Territories, as well as, of course, Urgach Naran.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ali, for your time.
Absolutely.